Hey everybody, welcome back with a new video. My name is Jamie and you're watching Film Empire. Now if you have not yet seen my tutorial on the FX Home channel, be sure to check that out using the link in the description. Today I'm going to show you my handheld rig and talk about what it is and what I use it for. So this video is to show you what I'm currently working with when I do a run and gun shoot, meaning I'm not in a full studio setup, but I'm outside or filming something where I don't have a lot of gear with me. Let's start with the camera and lens that I'm shooting on. Now, you might notice that this video looks a little bit different because this video is shot on a Canon 5D instead of the usual Lumix G80 that I film with. Now this is the Lumix G80, as I said, it's called the Lumix G85 in some other parts of the world, and that has to do with the video tax. This video can only record 30 minutes at a time, while the Lumix G85 can film until your card is full. The lens is the Lumix G Vario 14 to 140 millimeters. Now this is a micro four thirds camera, which means that it has a crop factor of 2. The Canon 5D you're watching this on right now has a crop factor of 1. So if I have this set to 35mm, it's the equivalent of a 70mm lens on a full frame camera. So this is the lens that I actually got with the camera. I did not buy another lens, and that is because I actually quite like the look and feel of this one. Now this has a variable diaphragm, so if you zoom in, the diaphragm will change. It goes from a 3.5 on 14mm to a f5.6 when it's fully zoomed in at 140mm. Now this might not be something that you like, but I don't really mind it that much when I'm shooting with this gear. Now as you might see, this is not the only thing that I'm shooting with. I have a cage system built by SmallRig, which is really nice to have on your camera. This is the SmallRig 1950 cage with the 1446 top handle, and the top handle actually bolts in using these two bolts at the top, and it gives a really rugged and robust feel. Now if you bolt this in correctly, it is not going anywhere, which gives this a very solid feel. Normally when I'm shooting outdoors, I'm using a microphone on here, which is the Rode VideoMic Pro Rycote. You see it on screen here. It is usually on here on this cold shoe mount, which is also why I really like having a cage. It gives me more cold shoe mounts. There's one over here, and the top handle gives me an extra cold shoe mount. And on the monitor you have another cold shoe mount. So in total I have 3 free cold shoe mounts that I can use. Now as I talked about earlier, there is a monitor on this camera, which is super nice to have. This gives me some more screen real estate, and it allows me to check my focus, which is something that you want to do. Now this camera does have a flip out LCD screen, which is a really nice feature, but a bigger screen never hurts. This is the Swit 4K LCD monitor. If you want to buy it, it's really nice. It has some really nice features on here, such as a histogram, but it can also show you if your footage is way too light. It will highlight those areas. So why do I have an entire setup like this instead of just a normal camera? Why am I using this and not a gimbal? Those are some really good questions, and let's go over it. Now, first of all, I really like having stability, and having some extra weight on your camera never hurts. The top handle gives me another way to control the camera. I can hold it like this, which is really nice sometimes, and you have some extra bulk, which allows you to grip onto the camera better. Now, of course, I could use a gimbal like the Ronin S or Ronin SC, but those add a lot of extra bulk, which is not something that I personally like. Of course, you could get some really smooth shots with it, but a gimbal like that costs a lot of money, and I like to spend my money on some other items. So it's really robust, and it's really nice to have this rugged feel. Also, there are a lot of different mounting holes on the side, so if I want to screw in some extra items, that is certainly something that I can do. In fact, the microphone is mounted to a sort of C-stand-ish item. I could even screw it onto the extra arm here. On the bottom, I've mounted my quick release plate, which goes onto the tripod. It's really nice having this on here, and it stays on super tight. Also, a rig like this protects your camera. In fact, there is a bolt at the bottom which screws into the tripod hole at the bottom of the camera, but there's also a miniature bolt over here which allows me to screw it into the hole where your camera strap would normally go. and this makes sure that the camera does not wobble at all, so it's in here super tight. So stable, robust, and it adds a lot of flexibility to my workflow. Now of course this rig is really nice, but there are some things that I would like to improve somewhere in the near future. For example, if you look over here, this is where the monitor gets mounted on, and this is a friction mount. You basically have to turn this thing by hand, and you can never get it as tight as you want. So this in fact wobbles in the cold shoe mount, which is not something that I want. Now what I think I'll do is design and 3D print a part which I can bolt on the front here, which keeps the monitor in place. Alternatively, there is a hole in the bottom on which I can screw something like a friction mount, for example. That would mean that I can add the friction mount onto one of the cold shoe mounts here, or maybe bolt it onto the side, and it allows me for more flexibility and for more different positions of the camera monitor. Then, something that I run into a lot is issues with battery life. For example, this is a Sony NP-F battery on the monitor. It's not great. I mean, it gets the job done, but it runs out pretty quickly. Then on the bottom here, I have access to the camera battery door, although it sometimes gets a little bit blocked. It allows me to change out the battery, but still I would like something with a bigger battery life. So I want to buy a V-mount battery, and something that exists is a dummy battery for your camera, which means that it has the contact points for the battery. You can put it into the bottom of the camera here, and it allows you to plug it straight into the big V-mount battery. And on the monitor there actually is a DC in port, which also allows me to run this off battery power. So I want to have a more uniform power solution to this. And then lastly, while I really do like this 14 to 140mm lens, I would like to maybe swap it out for something else. Something like a 50mm equivalent for full frame, so that would mean a 25mm lens on here. While having a zoom lens is really nice, having a zoom lens means that there are more glass elements inside, which means that your footage might become a little bit less sharp and can have a negative impact on your lens performance. So I would really like to buy a prime lens or maybe something else. So that is my run and gun setup. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have not yet seen my tutorial on the Effects Home channel, be sure to check that out with the link in the description. Then I really want to thank Heiko Rotteveel for helping me film this video and for lending me his Canon 5D. I really appreciate you, and thanks for helping me out. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Denk je dat we hem hebben, hè?
Netjes.
Ah, 17 minuten.